Hello again, and thank you for tuning into the Libertarian Solution YouTube videocasts. I'm Nick Coons with the Libertarian Solution, and I'm here to answer another email question that came in a couple of weeks ago. I apologize for taking so long to get back to this one. Will never happen again. Yeah, it probably will. But really quickly, let me go ahead and read part of the email. It's a very long email regarding the libertarian position on gay marriage. And it's well written. There's a lot of good information in it. I don't want to go into the whole thing just so we're not taking so much information or so much time rather to get into it, but I'll touch on the basics of the question here. And the listener writes in, it says, "For the last few weeks you have made a point of mentioning that libertarians support gay marriage. I fail to understand how this position supports the cause of liberty. Shouldn't the libertarian solution be to oppose government intervention into all marriages? Is there any function of marriage that cannot be handled by private individuals?" There's two very important questions there. The first one is, shouldn't the libertarian solution be to eliminate government intervention in all marriages? Absolutely, right on. That would be the ideal solution. That would be the best way to go about it. If we had a truly free society, marriage would be a private contract between two or more, possibly, individuals, same sex, opposite sex, whatever, and that would be private between them, and they would just do what they would want to do. That's completely up to them, no one else's business. Um, Unfortunately, we do have government involvement with it. So ideally, yes, getting government completely out of it would be the best way to go about solving this issue. Unfortunately, like I said, government is involved. Government's been involved for probably better than 100 years now here in the United States. And and they do quite a few things. They between the state government and the federal government, there's about 1,400 different legal and economic benefits for having your marriage legally recognized. Now, obviously, some of those things are benefits that shouldn't be benefits. Certain things that are provided, taxpayer-funded services and things like that, that really nobody should have. I mean, we shouldn't have those things. So obviously, we wouldn't say that we support gay marriage because we think people should be able to have access to those things. Those things should just go away. But there are actually certain things, and this gets into the second question: is there any function that private contracts can't cover that marriage does? And unfortunately, yes. There's a couple of different ones. Some of them here are key. I've got a short list of some. There's probably more. One being joint parenting or joint adoption. As a same-sex married couple, or even not married, recognized legally but living together, custody of children is not possible jointly. Now, this, of course, may vary by state because there are obviously some states that do support or allow same-sex marriage, but most states, I believe, still don't. And this would be one of the reasons for it. You can't, have children together. You can't adopt together, and obviously, you should be able to do that. Something that you can't do by just sidestepping the whole legal marriage process and getting a private contract. Joint insurance policies for home, auto, and health, because insurance is highly regulated by the state. That's one of the things that you have to be married for legally to be able to do. Immigration and residency for partners from other countries. Now, if you're male and your life partner of choice is male and lives in Canada, you're not going to have much luck getting them through the immigration process here because your marriage won't be legally recognized. Something that cannot be handled just by contracts alone. Again, in a private society, or rather a free society, this wouldn't be an issue because people could pretty much just live wherever they wanted to. Spousal exemptions to property tax increases upon the death of one partner who is a co-owner of the home. And lastly here, judicial protections and evidentiary immunity, essentially pleading the Fifth Amendment. Now, the Fifth Amendment says that you don't have to testify against yourself. You don't have to incriminate yourself. Now, ideally, whether or not you testify would be completely up to you. So this is something that shouldn't be an issue either. But the government does grant that you also do not have to testify against your spouse. Of course, if they don't recognize your life partner, your same-sex marriage, your spouse there as a spouse legally, then they can hold you in contempt and throw you into jail for not agreeing to testify. So obviously not a good thing there. Unfortunately, there are things that can't be handled through contracts in the system that we have now. So given that the idea of supporting gay marriage in the sense of supporting legalizing it, not saying, hey, we think everyone should get, go into gay marriage even if they're heterosexual. That's not what supporting gay marriage means. Obviously, it means supporting it in terms of saying that it should be legal, that people should be allowed to do it, that they should be conferred the same benefits, at least the ones that make sense, the ones that should exist anyway in a free society. That's just a kind of an equality under the law type of thing. And when we say on the show that we support gay marriage, that's what we're referring to. Ideally, you're absolutely right. Government should have no involvement in marriage. Government originally got involved in marriage because they wanted to prevent certain types of people from getting married. For instance, in the 19th century, Southern slaves were not allowed to get married. Up to as late as 1967 in certain states. Interracial marriages were illegal. So government involvement in marriage is awful, and it seems like their whole purpose is to either track people or to prevent them from getting married, which really is not something the government should be involved in at all. They should have no say in who can get married. That's the ideal solution. That is the way to go. Short of that, supporting, allowing anybody who wants to get married would be I guess a step in the right direction. So that's what we mean when we say that, but completely in agreement with you. Government should not be involved in marriage at all. It should be completely a private contract. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the website at www.libertariansolution.com. Again, I'm Nick Coons, one of the hosts of the show, along with Richard Sutton and Jim Iannuzzo. And you can check out the show as well as a lot of good content on the website, and we broadcast weekly. So we'll see you next time.